Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
But we have unbelievable technology. We shoot them down. I've seen so many things. I've seen shots that you wouldn't even believe. Missile launched. They go, missile launched, and you hear a bell go. I mean, I see this. It's so incredible. And these guys, these geniuses, they go, these are not muscle guys here. They're muscle guys up here, right? And they calmly walk to a seat. Ding, 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 ding. They've only got 17 seconds to figure this whole thing out, right? Boom. Okay. Missile launch. Pshing, boom. It's the most and we don't have it here.
Yeah.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Maybe there's someone that knows something about shooty things in
Yeah,
war.
I think so.
Shooty
Tell
things.
us
He
about,
knows about
building
those,
a dome over our entire country and things that go shoo, 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 bing, bing.
Bing, bing, boosh, bash.
Your thoughts on that?
Stunned. I'm
Can't
stunned.
stop laughing.
Bloopy, boppy. What the hell did I listen to?
Yeah.
I mean, I actually saw that. I was watching the coverage. Oh my God, he is just the stupidest man to ever sit in that seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the governor from Blazing Saddles, right? What's that line? That famous line Harvey Korman said, "Oh my God, if they find out, we're going to lose our phony baloney jobs." Well, this guy is so dumb. He's trying to describe, I guess they took him to a national military command post,
Yes.
where I actually pulled a short tour at one of these places. Underground, in the mountain, they do a simulated missile launch,
Yeah.
and they show him, they were showing him laser defense, and he's like, boop, boop, beep, bop. And I'm like, what are you, 5? Yes.
I mean,
He's
it
five.
is terrifying there
That's
is
what
any
you're left
possibility
with.
of giving this guy the nuclear codes.
Well-
Again, it's just, okay. Malcolm, so let's talk about, we mentioned yesterday, by the way, you got a lot of hate on Twitter, as you always do when I announce you're going to be on the show.
Wait.
I know you've been dealing
I
with
live
this.
for that now? Oh, Stephanie, I live for that now.
I know you seem to. Malcolm, I was saying, this is such a difficult situation. There were more, Palestinian protesters at Biden's speech on abortion yesterday. And I was saying we just had the governor's debate out here.
Senator.
Senate debate for Senate. And this just tells you like how nuanced and difficult this situation. I agreed with all 3 Democrats. Barbara Lee said killing 25,000 civilians, it's catastrophic and it will never lead to peace for the Israelis nor the Palestinians. Adam Schiff said, I don't know how you can ask any nation to support a ceasefire when their people are being held by a terrorist organization. Katie Porter said, ceasefire is not a magic word. You can't say it and make it so, but we have to push as the United States, as a world leader, for us to get to a ceasefire. And Steve Garvey, the Republican, of course, just said, Israel today, tomorrow, yesterday, today, tomorrow. Like, there's no nuance, no thoughts about, how we would get to a 2-state solution. I mean, talk to us a little bit about, being over there and what you're feeling about all that.
Sure, because I'm interviewing people left and right, and in fact, if you're following my Twitter, I had an amazing interview with a woman, actually, Aviva Komplas, the blogger, put out a short bit from this woman, but she was born in Baghdad, Iraq, in 1947, back when there were well over 100,000 Iraqi Jews. They left, they emigrated to Israel, and since that time, the Jewish diaspora in Iraq has been reduced to 7. There are 7 Jews who live in Iraq now.
Yeah.
So they all, did everyone move to Israel? Yes. 80% of this country is Jewish. The other 20% of this country is Israeli Arab, also known as the Palestinians that didn't leave in 1948. 20%, one in every 5 people in this country is Palestinian Arab. I speak more Arabic when I'm here than I speak English because there's so many here. Now, that 80%, that 8 million Jews, right? 80% of that number are from Arab countries called Mizrahi Jews.
Right.
Okay? This country is a very brown country. It's very hard to find Ashkenazim, that's white Jews, who look like they're from Europe. Very hard. It wasn't like when I came back here in in 1983, back when this country was really,
Yeah.
really, really white. It looked white because that's what I was programmed to look for. It's not. It never was. This
Yeah.
country is predominantly made up of those Muslims.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, not Muslims, but Arabs who were Jewish.
Sure.
Now, I want to make a quick point about that. This country is traumatized. But traumatized as it is from having their massive 9/11, everyone knows someone who was murdered. Right. Everyone knows somebody who was kidnapped in some way, shape, or form. The Israelis put out a proposal for a 2-month ceasefire.
Yeah.
They were going to exchange all hostages, all civilian hostages, plus thousands of Palestinian prisoners.
Yep.
Hamas yesterday turned it down. So when I hear people say calling for ceasefire, what they're calling for is for Israel to unilaterally surrender to Hamas by stopping this war. And it's a war. It's not a raid. It's not an air raid. There are like some 20,000 Israeli soldiers in full-time blazing battles day and night with Hamas.
Yeah.
So that's the situation on the ground here.
Well, yeah. Obviously, Netanyahu rejected the conditions. It would include Israel's complete withdrawal and leaving Hamas in power in Gaza.
That was
I think we all know
Hamas's
that's going to be a
counter-proposal.
non-starter. But at the same time, Palestinian militants, as you know, just killed 21 Israeli soldiers. So this morning, Malcolm, I felt like, oh my God, this is just going to escalate forever.
It's terrible because I just happened to be in the Ministry of Defense when they were trying to figure out what happened. And it was an unfortunate series of events. It was an unfortunate accident after a rocket had been fired into a building and they were preparing to demolish the buildings. And a lot of reservists died. We've had incidents like that too in the United States and Iraq and Afghanistan. That's a horrible number for Israel, though. 21 men and women to them is like 150
Malcolm,
to 200 to us.
I mean, again, I know, I understand, like, only believing Hamas on anything, but the body count is obviously very significant on the Palestinian side as well. And I think you write a piece, and I encourage everybody to read your Substack and whatever, because you talk about, you've, over the last 40 years, you've been to Israel a lot. I didn't even know this, that you were raised in an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood in Philadelphia since you were 10. But you just, you talk about what happened when Israel decided to strike back after October 7th. You say it appeared the world had shifted its position of horror and support for Israel and instead sought Israel's ability to defend itself using massive amounts of air power as an act of extreme aggression. Within 72 hours, the lie heard around the world occurred. The proclamation of an Israeli airstrike on the Al-Ahi hospital, killing 500 people and destroying the hospital, setting the world on fire all across North America and Europe. Social justice activists joined Palestinian and Muslim protesters to create a wave of anti-Israeli revulsion. However, no such attack happened. It was an accidental rocket fired by a Palestinian terror group. It killed and injured fewer than 40 people. But you just said no matter, within 72 hours, the big international Free Palestine movement was using the word genocide to describe Israel's attack. So, and describing Israel as colonial and apartheid. So you sort of want to answer the question: is Israel an apartheid state?
Mm-hmm.
So
because, that was posed by a question that one of my readers had put out there, and what I did was I made it clear in my Substack. Now we're talking Israel, and I have people come up there and say, "Well, Israel's full of apartheid. You can't go on the street. They hate blacks. They hate this." That is just a lie. But on the other hand, because this is actually a very democratic, multinational, multicultural, multi-faith, integrated country. Palestinians within Israel, Palestinian Arabs or Israeli Arabs as they call them, they're not prohibited from doing anything. They can marry a Christian. They can walk across the street. There are no segregated areas within the confines of Israel. And then that's when you get people move the goalpost on you. And they go, well, we were talking about Gaza and the West Bank. Well, Gaza was its own self-governing region that was buffered by Egypt on the south and Israel to the east and north. Okay? There's no apartheid going on there because they are 2.2 million people who chose with their government that they elected, which was a terrorist group, to, instead of developing themselves, create a micro-terror state that armed, 30,000 terrorists, built 10,000 rockets, created 500 miles of underground tunnels, which have to be cleared, and then invaded Israel on October 7th.
Yeah.
It's in their charter, the destruction of the state. The West Bank is a separate situation. That's not Israel either. There are security zones in there, the A zone, the B zone, the Z zone, and Israel has what they call security segregation. Now, that could arguably be considered apartheid, except that the Palestinian zones are governed by the Palestinian Authority.
Right.
Okay, and they put borders and fences in there in between the two. Are there settlements there? Yes, there are, and that's the biggest thorn in the entire Israel-Palestine conflict. But Israel had settlements in Gaza way back before 2005, abandoned them all, pulled out all the settlers, moved their own cemeteries, and gave it all to the Palestinians. So it's possible when a two-state solution comes up that things could change.
Yeah.
But so long as you're using this absolutist,
Today
kill
seems...
every Jew vocabulary, things aren't going to work.
Yeah, it seems like particularly not very hopeful day, though, for this whole situation. Just, given everything you were just talking about,
Right.
it just, do you feel a way forward? I mean, we keep saying, I feel like Hamas and Netanyahu need to be gone. It just, this feels like endless and hopeless. And I don't, I honestly, I keep saying, I just don't understand. They're making analogies to Biden with, Vietnam, or, those of us that said George Bush is illegally attacking the wrong country after 9/11. This is not Joe Biden's war, I mean, to be calling him Genocide Joe, and this is his...
Israel.
Go ahead.
Joe Biden did not ask Hamas to invade. Joe Biden did not direct Netanyahu to counterattack, blitz in an aerial attack against the Palestinians. Joe Biden didn't have anything to do with this other than the basics that every president of the United States, if it had been Barack Obama, okay, he would have done the exact same thing, which is, this is the only democracy in the Middle East. This is a real homogenous, multicultural, multi-faith country. This is the only place gays are going to get any shake, all right? Every place else, they'll throw you off a roof, or they'll kill you, or they'll make you hide. This country is supported by the United States because it is our policy to support this democracy. Do we support Netanyahu? Actually, if you watch what Joe Biden has been doing over the last few months, no, they have pressured him on many levels. These settlers who are over there shooting people are now going to be banned from coming to the United States if they're not brought to justice. Joe Biden is doing as best as he can, but this is why we call it foreign policy. Right? So you're going to, I saw this tweet that they spoke to Muslim leaders and none of them will support Joe Biden in 2024 during the election. That's literally community suicide. As I called it out. I'll be frank. I called it a murder-suicide pact. Because they will,
and it's not just Trump. They are Islamophobic as a party. As a party, they are putting forward bills to eject all Palestinians that live here now. I mean, it's insane.
Did you hear him last night? Trump literally repeated it yesterday. He will deport anyone that supports the Palestinians. He will get rid of anyone. And believe me, if you think he is not including American citizens in there, all right. Steve Miller put that tweet out about at 12 noon on January 17, 2025, the largest deportation in American history.
Those of us that went to the airports, to protest the Muslim ban, we're like, do you have short-term memory loss? I mean,
This is not, voting is not a single issue thing. It is vote like George Takei. George Takei.
It rhymes with gay.
He said, my family was put into camps in World War II. And we know that by voting for the party that really has our interest in mind is what democracy is about. It is not a popularity contest. It is about voting for a team that will move you forward. And I'm sorry, the Free Palestine movement, these misguided young kids, if you're listening to me, You're voting for the end of democracy. You're voting to destroy every woman's right to choose forever. You're voting against the black people that held this party up. You are voting because you're ignorant and misguided on this one subject. So
You've
get it
gone from
together.
Shoutface to get off my lawn,
Oh.
you damn kids. Turn the hose on you.
I got to because
I
the
hear ya.
lawn is called history, and these people just will not get it. They're
I hear
all
ya.
about learning things over 10 seconds.
Please stay
as
safe.
opposed to
Please stay safe. We hear you. But even if you weren't shouting, we hear you because your points are very good.
Right.
Yeah.
We love you, Malcolm Nance. Stay safe, please.